Okay, and we are recording. I got my friend Chris. Hey there, my friend. Can you hear me?
Yes, how you doing?
Hey, man. Thank you for being here. It's Chris Velazquez, yes?
Yes,
Amen. So, how's it going, man? How's your day?
doing very well. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. Today I worked in the morning, did some classes. Yeah, then I took a nap. Yeah, I was lucky that I could take a nap because normally I'm like pretty full. Actually, right after this, I got like interviews up until 7 p.m. So.
Wow.
This is my first one though.
Well, I thank you for having me here. And I'm excited.
Cool, cool, man. Tell me. So, what do you do? You do music? You're an actor? You do music, right?
Yes, I am a third generation musician, and my family has a lot of history in Latin music specifically. My grandfather used to play in the tres bands in Puerto Rico. And my father is very well known for being the timbalero de Frankie Ruiz.
Really?
Yes,
Okay, that's pretty cool. We play the timbales for Frankie Ruiz.
yes. His name is Luis Angel Velasquez. He's very well known in the New York community, especially amongst Latin musicians.
Luis Ángel Velázquez.
Yes,
Okay, okay. Okay, how do I put it? Like it was for
it'll be Luis
yes.
and then Angel. It'll
Uh-huh.
just be traditional spelling, and Velasquez pretty much the same way you see my last name.
Uh-huh. For Frankie Ruiz, yeah.
Yeah, so if you look at a lot of Frankie stuff, especially traveling from the early 90s into the late 90s, you'll see my father doing all the live shows, everything from Telemundo to South
Wow.
America. Um,
Okay.
he he played with everybody, Imael Miranda, Cheo Feliciano, Puente, I mean, you name it. And a lot of that, as I got into starting music, I was lucky enough to kind of be
Mhm.
thrown into some heavy hitting opportunities. My first gig was with John Benitez, Dave Valentine in a block party for Goya at 13 years old. This is somewhere on YouTube, and
Okay.
I can see myself holding on for dear life, you know. But initially it wasn't all music.
Uh-huh.
I grew up in the South Bronx, one of the poorest congressional districts in the United States.
Okay.
Um,
Uh-huh.
my father, as he was a gigging musician, I did gig quite a bit. But then I kind of left music because at the time toward the late 90s into the early 2000s, salsa was like in a weird place. And so
Oh, yeah.
I went into corporate America and professional sales. I did that for almost 15 years. And when COVID hit,
Mhm.
I just kind of reshifted my priorities and got back to music, and it's been an amazing experience. A lot of stuff, as I think for everybody, COVID did kind of affect your perspective on what was important in life. And I felt though I was very successful in corporate America, it really wasn't my passion, so I
Mhm.
wanted to reconnect with music.
Yes, sir. So what are you doing in music right now?
So right now I've been performing quite a bit, specifically live sound stuff. I play congas, timbales, drums,
Oh.
bongos. And so I've been working with various artists. One that really has been drawing a lot of my attention is a Christian salsa band that's
Mhm.
called Orquesta Ruby.
Orquesta Rubí.
Yes, and they have a couple of videos out. I'm actually playing on their most recent video that came out with the music video attached. I'm playing congas on that.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and I've been really focusing in this because there's not a lot of bands in salsa music that are in the Christian space.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
That's true, man.
and so it provided like a unique opportunity where I was still able to kind of express my belief and then also celebrate salsa music as a whole. The band has been around for a very long time. So if you scroll all the way up to the top,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see that first video, Cuando mi alma tiene sed, and
Mm-hmm.
we're in that video. I'm the gentleman playing. the congas there with a blue jacket.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely been exciting working with Luis Serrano and Luis Perea, which are the co-leads of this particular band. Um,
Uh-huh, man. That's great. That's you on the congas?
yes, yep.
All right.
So really good setup there. To give you some context, this church is actually pastored by one of the most famous baseball pitchers in Yankee history,
Okay. Who's that?
Mariano Rivera, the closer, is actually the
Oh,
associate pastor of this church. This is in New Rochelle, New York.
oh my
Um,
God.
and
Okay.
they were able to lend us the church to do the recording, and we were definitely grateful for that. But yeah, this is one of many projects that I'm like kind of diving in here. But
Okay. Okay. That sounds great, man. Okay. So we've been through a lot. You said that you were in corporate America, you left music for a while, and then now you came back, right?
yes, yep.
Wow. So that's a pretty big decision. I can totally relate. I also had a job. I also have a side job. I do music too. I just put out an album. I'm into cumbia, psychedelic cumbia.
Oh, okay, okay.
Let me show you. I'm also a Christian, and it's also really gratifying. And I'm also thankful every time I meet a Christian brother. So really appreciate it there, man.
Amen.
Amen. There, yeah. Let me show you my latest album. It's called Full Psychedelia.
Wow.
Psychedelia, like psychedelic cumbia. It's just instrumental. I'm
Oh,
done with the lyrics and all. I'm not doing lyrics no more. But uh, but tell me, man, was it hard to make that decision? You were saying that you were doing pretty good in
yeah, it,
corporate America.
it it was very hard. It was let me listen to this for a second before I respond.
Okay, okay. Can you hear it?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, it's mostly guitar, bass,
Yeah.
Percussion is a sample. I'm actually looking for someone to record live percussion.
Well, keep me in mind.
Yeah, my plan is to do like the full psychedelia live, and that's gonna be
Wow.
with live percussion. And then I will need a band. I actually
No,
recorded
for
all this
sure.
by myself.
That's crazy. It sounds really good, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I recorded here. I
Gotcha.
I was in New York on
Mm-hmm.
May,
Okay.
and I made an album there, and I bought all this stuff to make my album. But I
Mm,
was like only 1 month there, so I was on a rush. I made a lot of music with different musicians, street musicians, and like jam bands, and people I
mm.
met over the internet, and I recorded everything. And that was my album that I made in New York. Was called Side Q. Was
Wow.
the first album I made with this equipment. But then I brought it back to Peru, and I recorded this. Is my latest album that I recorded in Peru.
Well, definitely you have my info, so shoot me some links, man. I'd love to hear some of your stuff. But it
Yeah,
sounds good,
definitely,
man.
definitely, man. Do you have like your own project? Have you done your own recordings now?
So what I'm doing right now, I'm working on my own kind of stuff now. Like I said, I was very much heavy into the corporate America stuff and the job was very demanding. I worked for an organization that basically did back end banking sales support. I
Okay.
can't go into too much of the details because I signed so much paperwork to make sure that I couldn't talk. But in
Really?
essence, I had a lot of responsibility. I had to connect with high level, leadership at financial institutions and, cross sell products at a very high level. I was not by my standard, but by the standard of the company, recognized for a high level of success for many years. I think what kept me there and was mainly some of my faith. I think I tried to be as honorable and as respectful in every scenario that I was given. Um, but it got to the point when the organization, just like many others, were affected during COVID. They just gave a lot of responsibility to those that were still there. And since I was still after, they had to make some hard choices and decisions with the organization toward the heat of COVID. I started realizing that I was just doing so much, and I really wasn't feeling like I had true purpose, or that I was in my true purpose, and walking away from, like, six figures is like, it's not for the weak-hearted, especially in a time where you couldn't gig. I mean, you're in the music
Yeah.
space. You couldn't,
Uh-huh.
there was no clubs, there was no concerts, so I started really focusing on educating myself on more technology, the studio stuff. Hence how I just did this big update. I purchased this thing called the CQ20 by Allen and Heath, and I'm really excited about this little piece of gear. Um, for less than, sub $1,000. I don't think there's anything in the market comparable. You can do live recording using SD, so you don't have to have an interface or none of this crazy stuff. So for live gigs, it's awesome. You can use your tablet to work their program and their application. So basically, you have a mixer that's the size of a small shoebox that has the power of something like, a $5,000, mixer from, Behringer or Mackie, what have you. So with the new setup, like I was telling you a little bit earlier, I want to use this as the primary interface for all things. So I like kind of took apart the whole Pro Tools setup I had here, and it's like a disaster, bro. But it's something exciting. I'm not getting paid obviously by Allen and Heath, but I guess they're gonna get the free promotion on this. But it's definitely something I would advise people to look into. So as far as tying back to your original question, anything I'm working on, I'm really into some of the new stuff. I've noticed as being a Christian and playing all styles of Christian music and music in general, because I do jazz, R&B, hip hop, but there's a lot of this kind of Cuban, South American crossover funky thing happening, especially in the New York area. There's so much of this like timba, some of the mixtures of some Colombian stuff from previous, even cumbias is very, heavy hitting, so I've been working on some unique stuff that kind of features a lot of these rhythms. Recently I got the opportunity to sit with Giovanni Hidalgo. I mean, arguably the greatest percussionist of all time. He's working on a new album with some colleagues and dear friends of mine, Adán Perez, a pianist, amazing pianist out of New York, as well as an amazing sax player called Norbert Satchel. So Giovanni Hidalgo, if you look at yeah, it's not with the E's, with the I, like Hidalgo with the G.
Hidalgo, Hidalgo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
Exacto.
Oh,
Um,
Giovanni Hidalgo. Okay.
yeah, Giovanni is probably one of the most progressive innovations in hand percussion probably throughout history. I think he showed the best of all the cultures of that time. Influences from Latin jazz, from Cuba directly, from South America, Puerto Rico, um, and really push stuff forward for percussionists. But, in hindsight, similar to a project that he's doing, I think most of musicians are starting to understand that in order for us to stay relevant, we just can't stay in one niche. I mean, there are some that can thrive in that, and God bless them. But as far as like a giggy musician like myself, you got to be able to do more than one thing.
Totally agree. I mean, there's two things. I mean, to me, music is like one thing is about like putting your art there and doing your thing and like, and when you're in that position, you don't think about like money and stuff. But if you're out to work, like just limiting yourself to one style is just gonna make it harder for you to work,
Yeah.
So there's two perspectives. Like I was just okay, so first I want to thank you for all of this. You're telling me this is great information. I'm really interested in the music scene, Latin music scene, and I know it's growing a lot in New York, like I was telling you, I was just there. So I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No worries, my brother.
Yeah, I appreciate your time being here and all. And then about this product, man, I want to go back to this one because you said, I mean, when I was there, do you know Prospect Park?
Yes, Brooklyn, yeah.
Right? I was living in Brooklyn. Where do you live?
I actually live now in the Bronx. More to the upper region, almost borderline Westchester County. Most people identify where I live by the Throgs Neck area of the Bronx.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, tell you the truth, I was just 1 month there, and I was most of my time in Brooklyn and Manhattan. So I went to Queens too, so one Latino bar, which was like amazing. Dude, you know Santa Salsa Street?
Yes, yes, yes.
It's a little bar, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, but for me, like this was my trip, first time in New York. I had a great time. You know, it was the first time I
Wow.
found like a Latino place where they play all the Latin music, even the cumbia, reggaeton, and
Yeah.
everything. You know, and I was in New York, like going around. I was looking for this, and I couldn't find it. So when they took me to this place, I was like, man, this is what I needed. You know?
Yeah, no, especially Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn is so different from where it was. Most of the time, if you can look, you look through history, a lot of our kind of cultures, music, the Latin music in general stem from Spanish Harlem, some of the Bronx, even some of the American stuff, hip hop, but there's such a diversity in New York. You could come in here, you could be from any culture, and you'll find some block that has like everything that you wanted, stuff as far as food, music, I mean, clothing. There's like a block for everybody in New York, you know?
Yeah, I loved it, man. I actually fell in love with the city, and I want to go back there. But the thing is that I met some people. I was like posting in all these groups. That's what I've been doing again for my podcast because it worked so well, actually. You
Mm,
know, I posted and I found musicians. I just posted, I'm a cumbia musician. I'm gonna be in New York for a month looking for people to make music with. And I posted
gotcha.
some Los Mirlos. I don't know if you know Los Mirlos.
I've heard the name, but I'm not too familiar.
Yeah, so Los Mirlos was what actually got me into playing cumbia. Like I've heard
Oh,
a lot
okay.
of cumbia, ráfaga, Argentinian
Okay.
cumbia, Colombia. You know ráfaga?
Yeah, I've heard them. Yep.
Ráfaga, there's a lot of cumbia, but I wasn't really. I grew up in rock and roll actually. I used to
Ah,
be like a
okay.
hard rock player, I played Sabbath and Zeppelin and all that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
but
that's
I'm
that's a big difference though. Imagínate
sure.
to make a transition from like, She-Wolf Megadeth to go to like cumbia.
Yeah, got
What
the Red Hot
inspired
Chili.
that? What made that change?
Yeah, man, it's a long process. You see, I've lived in Latin America, South America, and Peru specifically all my life. But
Mm,
I used to go to the States like every summer, and I got family in Miami, New York, and Texas. So I was like listening to rock and roll and all, but I was also exposed to Latin music. So I always
okay.
knew Latin music, but I was a guitar player, so I wasn't interested in playing it. But then when
Okay.
I started playing bass, I kind of like got into salsa, like hard salsa,
Okay.
like the classics, Fania, Héctor Lavoe, Gran
Yeah.
Combo,
Yeah.
Cheo Feliciano, all this stuff.
Good
And,
stuff.
and yeah, and then I started playing bass, salsa bass, which really
Okay.
opened my mind to different Latin styles. And then about cumbia, specifically this type of cumbia, which is Peruvian cumbia from the jungle, it's
Hmm.
psychedelic cumbia. It's actually more about guitars, and they don't use horns that much, and it's more
Really?
of yeah, it's more like psychedelic. Let me play a little. And they actually had a show on KEXP with they promote acts, music acts, and that was like
Mhm.
really good. And I was said, I want to do this kind of music, right? Was
Yeah, because
actually,
normally the cumbia, as you know, is traditionally almost the same instrumentation from like, salsa or merengue band. It's kind of a unique approach really to approach it with guitars, electric guitars, I'm assuming, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, 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 because they get the same bass and same rhythm, the beat, the percussion is pretty much the same,
Hmm.
but they got this feeling about the jungle. They always mention the jungle, like the sound of the jungle, you see?
Okay.
You probably heard this.
Yeah. But it's so unique. That guitar, the guitar lines are so
Yeah.
crazy.
And now I think you can identify to like a certain kind of cumbia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I am Peruvian, so I can relate to the kind of humor, like the way he's speaking is kind of like
Yeah.
I know what he's
I
about, you
got
know?
you. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Uh-huh. Pura selva, dice.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazónica del Perú,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sounds good, man. It's crazy to be in that. You know, that's one thing I think that's special about music. You know, people relate to different music different ways. I think, it's such a surreal thing. You know, you're relating to this in a way that's like, is unique to
Yeah.
you, and then it could be like something like you were saying earlier, like, Mike Portnoy in Dream Theater and people are like rocking their heads and they're connecting in a different way. It's just so crazy how music just, affects everybody differently, you know?
Yeah, and it's such a big part of who you are and your culture, and like takes you to places, reminds you of situations, and also has the power to control the people. So it's a big, big topic. It's really powerful. Like
Yeah.
really, sometimes when they talk about like, you want to be a musician, you're not, it's like they underestimate the power of music, like comparing it to like being corporate America. Like you'd say
Yeah.
it's a no-brainer. I'd rather be in corporate America because of the money and shit, but actually music gives you some kind of power,
Absolutely.
correct?
I mean, if you think about it, right, as us being Christian, right, you go to church and the first thing you see is the worship team. And, though that music is designed in essence, to affect you emotionally. It's designed to open your heart up. It's designed for you to connect on a different level. The words are supposed to penetrate through, all the defense you've built up during the week. So I mean that's just a great example. You're spot on. Music can definitely affect your mood, your emotion. It can guide you in certain perspectives. And
Yeah.
also even if just in background, it de-escalates stress. How many people they're sitting behind a desk stressed out and they'll throw some
Yeah.
background music or something like that, or even to get pumped up to work out. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it just does so much as far as, it's very powerful. You're absolutely correct.
You know what? I want to take it a step further, and I truly believe that this is actually like raising spirits and connecting with spirits because, it's like sound, it's invisible, but it actually changes you and it gets into you, and it's like it creates a spirit, and it's like connects you to the spiritual world. If you believe in that. There's people who don't, but you know, you
Well,
know.
I don't deter anybody from what they do believe.
Hmm.
I know for sure if you look even past toward the land culture, one thing that's very heavy is Santeria.
Yeah.
For those that don't know that,
The
it's
Caribbean,
really
especially, right? In Central America.
definitely, definitely, definitely. For those that are watching the program really don't know about it, it's more of kind of the Spanish variant of voodoo. Um, and you'd be surprised. People listening to these polyrhythms that are unique to the religion itself, they believe
Yeah.
that those things, call spirits, they connect you
Yeah.
with like, all this different stuff. And in general, I mean, music stemming from, people being enslaved. It was a way for them to communicate with each other. It was a way for them to just, pretty much address all things. It war, it would, the striking of the drum, it's just
Yeah.
music does so much, you could be on
Yeah.
this for like days and years, bro, and we wouldn't even scratch the surface. Imagínate, it's just crazy.
It's amazing, dude. I gotta finish now. Thank you. We gotta do this again in a longer format, man. We gotta get into this because, you know, yeah, But hey, I gotta cut it. I got my next guest here. But
No
thank
worries.
you, man, for
Appreciate
being
you.
here.
You got it, man. I can't wait for the next time.
Yeah, I'm gonna send this as soon as it's on. I'll send it to you, and we'll set up a next format. Hey, I also got like long group conversations. So if
Okay.
you want to be a part of a group session, we got like musicians and just talking about this kind of stuff, and you're invited, man. If you want to come,
No, for
yeah.
sure, man. Just send me the stuff. Let's stay in touch.
All right, man. Awesome. Thank you, man.
Uh,
I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. Have a
I'll see
great
you.
day, guys.
Have a great day. Bye.